What is up, everyone? Jay here with another Fire Emblem Heroes video, and today we're going to take a look at the first summer banner of 2024. And as always, I'm excited for summer when it comes around in FEH for obvious reasons, but this year is a bit disappointing in my opinion. And no offense to anyone who likes these characters, but Heroes OCs are not my cup of tea most of the time. And I mean, I do like some of them, and I don't hate any of them really. It's just they tend to get a little bit too much. I wish Intelligent Systems would mix it up and spread the love a little bit more, because we have, Jogdraw and Valencia, who don't have a single summer alt for any of their games, and then Heroes OCs like Nerþuz just had an alt in her, like she just got a New Year's alt 6 months ago, and she's getting another one. And obviously, characters have gotten 2 alts in a year. It's not unheard of or anything. It's just like mix it up, man. Make it a bit more unpredictable. But I get it at the same time, because like it's Heroes OCs. You want to promote the characters you made for FEH, but there's also the Fire Emblem series, So I just wish they were a bit more creative with the choices, because every single character on this banner, except for Vake, who is the Tempest Trial unit, has had an alt in the game. But Hrid is a bit different, because Hrid, he hasn't had an alt in years. His last one was his New Year's, and Hrid doesn't get enough shine. So I'm happy for him and Hrid fans, but everyone else has had at least one alt or multiple alts. And Nerþuz already has, this is her third version, or her third version, but her second alt. So yeah, I mean, her art's great. And she looks, I mean, just look at her, right? It's obvious why she was chosen, but man, I have some friends who are Nerþuz fans, so I'm happy for them, but I just wish, like, the book 7 spam is real. The book 7 cheese is real. So here she is, starting off the banner. Beach Chaperone. I do like the Sharina thing here on her drink. That's adorable. And this time she is a Green Beast Cavalier, and Sencha is an amazing artist, as you can see. And this Nerþuz, kind of combines her Mythic and her New Year's in some aspects, I think. So Lover Nerþuz is her weapon, -1 cooldown, start a combat if she's alive. She grants bonus to all her stats, equal to the number of allies within 3 rows of 3 columns, centered on unit times 3 plus 5, maximum 14. Has full no follow-up, DR on the first attack by 40%, including the brave hits, and also grants the following effects to allies within 3 rows of 3 columns. So a lot of that's going to be happening here. 3 rows of 3 columns, that's a very easy condition to activate for the most part. If you're alive at the start of combat, when that unit or ally special triggers during combat, hold up, and if unit's HP, okay, start combat to unit. Okay, so you get the status at the start of turn, right? Start of combat. When that unit or ally special triggers during combat, you reduce the percentage of foes, so you pierce through damage reduction by percentage equal to that unit or ally's max special cooldown count value times 30 plus 10, maximum 100. So I've talked about this before, and how not only has FEH had a lot of power creep, but like, just complexity creep with all the text. And I understand why they try to mix this up in terms of, like, for DR piercing, they try to make it different, because it's not just straight up DR, but it's like at the same time, why do we have to read these equations for it? I don't know. It's just like, it could have just been regular DR or like halving, but they want to make it different by, having the condition to reduce the DR by X percentage, and that depends on your ally's max special cooldown count value, and you have times 30 plus 10. It's just a bit too much, honestly, but I guess they're trying to make it different, like I said. But yeah, you get up to maximum 100 depending on your max special cooldown count value or your allies, and also if that unit or ally's max special cooldown count value is greater than or equal to 3, and their attack can trigger their special, you grant special cooldown count -1 to that unit or ally before their first attack. So that is good, because that's special jumping, and that's amazing to kind of counter like scowl effects and whatnot, and just help you nuke better. So yeah, so this weapon is pretty good. It gives you no follow-up, lots of stats, DR, and support for your allies, which I do like for Nerþuz, because Nerþuz is a character who loves her adorable creatures, and she loves the land or whatever. So having her as supportive, having some support is nice, and it's more fitting, because her Mythic version, when it dropped, it was just pure offensive for herself, which didn't really fit her character in my opinion. So I'm glad that this Nerþuz is a bit more supportive. I don't remember too much about the New Year's version. I think she was more offensive, I don't know. But yeah, and then you get the standard DR and also the stats if you transform for a Cavalier, which was updated before. Before it was just like fault negation. Dragon Fang is a special attack speed excel, which gives you that true DR depending on the amount of reduces damage X by ×3 during combat, foes attack. So yeah, the X, I misread it. Like I said, with the when Bridal Sharina had this skill, I misread it, because the X is going to be able to give you that true DR, which I really want for my Attune Sita, because she would really make good use of this skill along with the amazing, like the crazy DR she already gets, the flat DR she gets. But yeah, the attack speed excel is awesome because we just had that skill literally like a month ago. And then Under the Sun is her PRFB, enables Canto 2. At start of combat, if you're alive, you inflict speed defense -5 on the foe, have null guard, true damage 20% of your speed, and you reduce damage by the, or sorry, reduce damage from foes first attack by 25% of your speed. So that's the flat DR. And that's only on the foe's first attack. So it's not every hit, but still having flat DR is amazing because it's unpierceable. And this also means the brave hits. And if units next attack deal damage equal to the total damage reduced from the foe's first attack by any source, including other skills, resets at end of combat and restores 7 HP. So she can, you know, really function well as a hit and run unit, as a tank, because she does have the flat DR. Supportive wise, she can help her allies and, you know, let them jump their specials, and she can just be a good mixed phase cavalier. So it's good for her. And you know, this was kind of a combination of her mythic, I think, because her mythic had the healing and the damage reflection, I think, and then her New Year's had the flat speed damage reduction. So it's a bit of a combination of those two things with the summer version, I think. So that's pretty cool. And then she has a new C skill, Beast Threaten. So this is interesting. At start of turn, you inflict defense -7 and panic on the foes within 3 rows of 3 columns centered on unit through their next action. So panic is pretty good. I mean, Panic's been in the game since the start, but Panic can really cripple some tanks and units in general, because if they depend on buffs especially, you can just cripple them, and we have stuff like Panic Smoke 4, which I think has gotten better over time, honestly. So yeah, Panic's nice. And at start of turn, if any foes within 3 rows of 3 columns, so there's the 3 rows 3 columns condition again, you grant attack +6 to unit for 1 turn, and also if your special cooldown count is at maximum value, you grant special cooldown count -1. So this is basically times pulse in this skill along with the threaten effect. So that's pretty good, especially for Cavaliers, because Cavaliers don't really get access to a lot of lowering cooldown stuff. You know, that's really a thing that infantry units get. Sometimes flyers, you know, armors can use fighter skills to help their specials. So Cavaliers don't really get that. So having this times pulse, obviously it's beast locked, but still this is really good, especially for a unit like Nerþuz, who, you know, can nuke really well with their specials. So yeah, I like that skill. So it's another option in the repertoire for beasts. So yeah, Nerþuz is pretty good. Definitely a really good Cavalier. Amazing art for obvious reasons. And yeah, she is getting her second ult this year, which is crazy. So I guess we'll see if she gets a third sometime down the line this year, because we still have half a year left. So that is Nerþuz. And actually, they're going to show more combat. I'm going to skip this. She takes out Summer Out of Guard. Let me move on. I guess they just had to show 2 combats. The next unit on the banner is Hrid, Island Ice Prince. So again, like I mentioned earlier, I think Hrid is an OC who, I don't think I mentioned it, but you know, he doesn't get as much shine compared to his siblings, and he was pretty much confirmed because his little sister was like, I'll bring Hrid on next year, I think, or something like that. So Hrid was pretty much a given. So I'm glad he's actually here, and he hasn't had an ult in years. So he's a Lance Cavalier this time, and this version introduces a new status effect, or a new penalty on the foe, called Frozen Status, which obviously fits him because he is a Prince of Nifl. So we are going to Disney territory with Frozen. So before we get to that, Prince's Lance enables Canto 2 -1 cooldown. If unit initiates combat within 2 space of an ally, you grant bonus to all your stats during combat equal to 25% of foe's attack at the start of combat, -4, minimum 5, maximum 14, and you inflict a penalty on the foe's stats during combat equal to the current bonus on those stats ×2. So if you've seen this before, this is the buff Punisher, basically the buff Stealer kind of. Well, I guess not Stealer, but you basically punish them for having buffs, which in a game like FEH, where generally speaking having buffs is good, this is really good anti-meta because you can just punish them. So if they have a +7 bonus to attack, you inflict attack -14. So, you know, that's how it goes. And we've seen this before for a long time. Like Legion had this on his weapon refine. So this is really good for Hrid, because this can, you know, have a big stat swing, and obviously it's dependent on the foe having buffs. But like I said, usually units are going to have buffs for the most part, generally speaking, or at least they're going to try to get buffs. So yeah, this is a nice way to counter that kind of and try to win. And you also reduce damage from foes' attacks by 40%. And also, if you deal damage to a foe using a special during combat, you restore a percentage of units max HP equal to 10%, or sorry, 10 plus units max special cooldown count value times 20, maximum 100. So nice healing as well. So it's a pretty simple weapon, but it's very good. It gets you a lot of stats, and you have Canto 2, which is amazing. Canto 2 is pretty much the best Canto you can get on a weapon, so that's great. Bonfire is his special, which is kind of funny because he's an Ice Prince, but he has Bonfire. Ice Prince's Seal, this is the thing that gives him Frozen status, and he's had PRFBs before on his legendary version. So, or should I say his base version. At the start of turn, if he's alive, he inflicts speed, defense -7, frozen, and guard on closest foes and foes within 2 spaces of those foes through their next actions, which I think is the same condition which he's had before on his freezing seal, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, start of combat, if he's alive, inflicts -5 attack speed defense on the foe, makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, deals damage 20% of unit's defense, and reduces damage from the foe's attacks by 20% of his defense during combat. So this is flat DR. We just saw this with Nerþuz, obviously, but Nerþuz, Summer Nerþuz had it on her first attack only. So it was 25%, so it's a little bit higher, but Hrid here has it on every attack, so that's really good, and this is going to make him a very good and much better defensive Lance Cavalier, or Cavalier in general, because Cavaliers don't really have the best defensive skills and properties, so having this is going to help him tank hits a lot better. And then the frozen status, so remember to read these in the I guess in the shoes of the unit that's getting inflicted by it. So if you're inflicted by frozen, you can't make a follow-up ability, or your follow-up ability is reduced, inflicted, it's reduced, and then it increases the foe's follow-up ability through the next action, increases speed difference necessary for unit to make a follow-up attack by X, and decreases speed difference necessary for foe to make a follow-up attack by X during combat. If the foe's defense is greater than unit's defense, X equals 10 plus difference between defense stats times 2, otherwise 10. For example, if speed difference necessary increased by 10, speed must be greater than or equal to 15, more than the foe's speed to make a follow-up attack stacked with similar skills. So we've seen this before a little bit. Diamant, I think, was the first unit to really have this, where you have to have a higher speed stat. Besides the standard 5, it's increased. But with Hrid here, it's dependent on these conditions. So that's pretty good, and Hrid's going to be slow like he usually is, I think. I mean, that's why he has a guaranteed follow-up. So this is going to help him because it's going to be harder to make follow-ups on him. And, follow-ups in general are getting more resistance because we have Weaving Fighter, and now we have this. Obviously, it's a PRF, but still. Frozen status is interesting, and then odd defense wave 4. So we have defense wave, or should I say wave skills. They used to be the wave, literally back then. I remember when they dropped, people were pulling for that skill because it was, back then it was very hard to get buffs. Like, it wasn't that easy to get buffs. Like, tactic skills didn't really exist yet as much. So having this self-sufficient buff was really good. But now we have a tier 4 version, which is pretty crazy, and it's fitting that they're on the summer banner. So odd defense wave 4, start of turn, grants defense +6 to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. And if unit's defense is greater or equal to the foe's defense -5, you have null guard to the foe or inflict. So you have just full tempo basically, because you stop their charges like heavy blade stuff, and you also have null guard. So that's amazing if you have greater than or equal defense, foe's defense -5. And then if it's an odd number turn, you grant defense +6 to unit during combat. Okay, so this is much better obviously than the tier 3 version, because before it just gave you the stat boost on the odd turns. This time it always gives you the defense boost, and it also has the full null guard, or tempo should I say, and also there's still the odd number turn condition, but it just gives you stats during combat, extra stats. So that's amazing. Definitely a worthwhile skill, especially for a defensive, kind of unit like Hrid. This is really good for him, so he can just ignore guard effects and whatnot. And I don't think wave skills have any kind of restriction on them. They might have like a healer restriction because healers don't get anything, but yeah, wave skills are pretty good now. This is really good, so I like the way they buffed the wave skills. And that's not the only wave skill on this banner. So Hrid, he's back. He's chilling. His art is great. He's got abs that you can land a plane on. You can grate the cheese on it. Yeah, so Hrid, I mean, his whole family looks great, I guess. It's Hero of those seas, right? So last year, what was last year? Was last year Summer Fiorm? I think it was. So Hrid following in his family's footsteps. Yeah, so there's his sisters there. All right, so we have Olivia as the next unit on the banner. Wave Crest Dancer. Olivia's great. She's drawn by Kipu, which is a W because Kipu is one of my favorite artists in FEH. I'm biased because Kipu drew base Lind's art. So yeah, Olivia got the Kipu art blessing, and she is a colorless mage flyer, which is a very uncommon. That's not very common at all. Like, I'm trying to think of, well, I guess Micaiah. Yeah, like Bridal Micaiah, but that's about it that I can think of. There's not that many. So Olivia joins a rare class type, so that's pretty cool. And her art's great. Again, Kipu drew really good art for Olivia. Also, let me not forget that Kipu also drew Summer Lind, of course. So not only base Lind in FEH, but also Summer Lind, who's obviously one of my favorite alts of all time, and I'm glad that Olivia also got the Kipu treatment. So this is Olivia's kit. So C Tambourine Plus is her tome, and this is a really good inheritable colorless tome. Probably the best one right now, because I think the best one before this was what, Vulture Tome, which is only on Neem, and colorless tomes don't really have many inheritable options, so this is actually a good one. So this gives the ability to grant attack speed +6 to unit and allies within 2 space for 1 turn if you're alive, and at the start of combat if you're alive and it is an even number turn, you grant attack speed +5 during combat at the start of combat if unit's HP, so if you're alive again, and it is an odd number turn, you grant attack speed +11 to unit during combat. So that is a lot of attack and speed. So even number turn, attack speed +5, odd number turn, attack speed 11, because why not? So that's a lot of stats. And then to start combat, if you're alive again, and if unit speed is greater than or equal to the foe speed -5, you have no follow-up. So this is a really good inheritable tome. Not many units can really use it though, I feel like, because there isn't that many colorless tomes in the game, like compared to other weapon types, obviously. So I'm trying to think of like what, Laurent, I guess. I don't remember Laurent's stat spread, but I guess he could use this. I don't remember if he's fast or not. I think he is. I don't know. But this is pretty cool. So that's a really nice inheritable tome. She comes with dance, of course, because Olivia is always a dancer. Attack speed, Far Trace, and attack speed of Rhine. So a nice, simple kit for a 4-star demote. And the Rhine skill is good if you want to get, you know, a tier 4 Rhine skill. Is there an attack speed Rhine 4 or some variant of it? I don't know. So yeah, her weapon nullifies guaranteed follow-ups and effects preventing hers, and it gets a lot of attack and speed. So amazing art. Again, I'm biased to Kipu, but even if Kipu didn't draw Lind, I think I like Kipu's art because it's very cute. And then we have the star of the show, I guess, the duo, Glittering Sunlight, Summer Gullveig and Seidr. So Summer Gullveig was kind of expected, honestly, because, you know, Heroes OCs, but I guess it's good that, you know, Seidr was in the lead because Seidr already had her New Year's version, you know, with Haether. But Gullveig here, getting her summer version, and she has a snake floaty, which is actually pretty cute, and drawn by Yoshiku, and is a red tome cavalier. So they're going to be an offensive threat, as you might expect, as a lot of units are these days. So here she is with her signature Flared Sparrow damage, Golden Sunlight as her weapon, -1 cooldown. If unit initiates combat or the foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75, at the start of combat grants bonus to units stats equal to 5 plus the number of foes in 3 rows 3 columns. So more of this 3 rows 3 column stuff, times 3, maximum 14. Treated as 14 starting in unit's second what is this? Treated as 14 starting in unit's second combat in player phase. Okay, so I guess in the second combat in player phase or enemy phase, you just ignore this calculation. It's always 14. Okay, why not? And you deal damage 20% of your speed, so that's true damage, and you reduce the percentage of foes non-special reduced damage by X skills by 50%. So glad that didn't have a crazy convoluted equation like Nerþuz had. It's just straight up 50% like we're used to at this point. And if unit initiates combat, you reduce damage from the foe's first attack by 70%, including the brave hits, and also grants another action to units. So the signature thing that Gullveig can do, move again after combat. But you do have the restriction to your movement for 1 space on unit and pair up cohort to the next action. So it's a bit balanced in that aspect, but if Gullveig can survive, she's very good at that hit and run Gale Force playstyle as a ranged unit. Time and Light is her special. Now I think this is different because her Mythic and her Brave had, and Vasir had what? Time is Light and Light is Time, and this one's Time and Light. Okay, so this is 2 cooldown. Boost special damage by 30% of your speed. When special triggers, neutralizes, so you have no guard. And if unit initiates combat after combat, if unit is special triggered and unit survives, which is, you know, that's a thing she's going to be able to do a lot against a lot of units. Grants another action, of course, and restricts movement to 1 space, so she gets the other movement, so you can move again. This effect has priority over some other similar effects. In such cases, these other similar effects are treated as not having triggered. So if you do survive, then you're going to trigger Time is Light, I guess. If you do trigger it, which you are going to trigger for the most part because you have no guard. And then this, another movement will happen after that one. So lots of movement, which, you know, at this point we're used to it. I mean, Edelgard's had it always. You have Gullveig, who's introduced it and now has it again for a summer version. And we have Bridal Sharina. So yeah. Time and Light is pretty simple though compared to Time is Light and Light is Time. Flared Sparrow, Speed Res Far Trace, and Odd Speed Wave. So Odd Speed Wave 4, let's see what this does. At start of turn, grants speed +6 to unit and allies within 2 space for 1 turn. If you're faster than the foe speed or equal to them, -5, you have no follow-up. Okay, so you just straight up have no follow-up. Okay, so that's great. And if it's an odd number turn, you grant speed +6 to unit during combat. Okay, so yeah, Odd Speed Wave. Compared to Defense Wave, you know, it does what you expect. Speed Wave is more offensive. giving you that full no follow-up if you're faster, and the defense wave giving you tempo. So pretty simple kit, nothing that crazy, because speed wave, I mean, no follow-up compared to tempo effect. I mean, it's great, obviously, but no follow-up can be outsourced in so many ways, and tempo can't really. Tempo is still kind of rare, so while this is very good, obviously, for Gullveig and other units, I'd say the tempo is more sought after and more, it's more scarce, but Speedway is good, because you can not have to run. You don't have to run no follow-up in your B, obviously. You don't have to run it as a seal. You don't even have to outsource it, or you don't have to put it in a weapon, like an arcane weapon or something, because you can give this to some other swordy who's using another sword or something. I don't know. So there's a lot more options now. I mean, there's just so many skill options now with how much you can mix and match and use different skills. So that is Summer Gullveig as a Red Cavalier. Crushes foes with up to 4 actions and can get equivalent to 37 speed, so lots of stats. Of course, they're just going to kill Seidrs here. Third Sparrow is obviously very good, but it's not as good as it used to be thanks to Breath of Life. I honestly think Breath of Life, I know I said I was excited for that skill, and I kind of am, because I do like the counter, because I wanted a counter to the, the combat damage, but I feel like they made it a little too good, honestly. But yeah, so that is Gullveig, the last unit on the banner. Then we have Vake, who right now I don't have his art. I don't think it's out quite yet, but we'll see it. The real Teach is here, Byleth. This is the actual Teach, the first Teach. Teach just got tenure, so glad Vake's in the game. And I think someone said that now that Vake's into the game, Awakening is the first Fire Emblem game that has every single character from their playable cast in the game. I could be wrong on that, I don't know. But either way, that's an interesting thought. Awakening is pretty close though, I know. So so that's dual skill lets you have another action. Okay, why not? So that's okay, because I was thinking 4 actions is a lot, so I guess they're having another one from the dual button, because why the heck not? So honestly though, in terms of power, this banner isn't like super duper crazy strong, which I always say it. You don't have to have every banner as crazy powerful like Fallen banners are, but yeah, I mean, I like that the banner's pretty simple. I mean, not simple in terms of like some of the effects, but like the skills are pretty straightforward. Like the speed wave skills, I do like that there are having tier 4 versions now. There's Vake right there. It looks like an axe unit as expected. Let's see if he actually forgets. He's probably gonna have some line where he forgets his axe, because that's his thing in Awakening, where he goes to the battlefield and forgets his weapon. So that's the summer banner lineup. I know I said at the beginning I'm a bit disappointed with the character choices, but at least we have hope for the second banner. I'm hoping for some Valencia or Jug Draw, at least one of them, please, because it's like we're 7 years into the game, they don't have anything. Or give me like Summer Tamara, that's someone I really want, or Summer Marth. But Summer Marth is a pipe dream of mine, because I don't think that's going to happen, because he just got his Emerald version. But I mean, you might be thinking, well, Nerþuz just got a second alt. Yeah, but Marth's not Nerþuz. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But I have high hopes for the second one. I hope it's better than this one. But if you are summoning on this one, good luck. There's some good stuff here. There's no color share, I don't think. Yeah, there's no color share, so that's good if you're trying to plus 10 someone. Olivia is going to be a nice demote because she's a dancer and is a colorless tome, which is a pretty rare combo. We don't have many colorless tomes in general, and she has a really good kit and a good solid weapon. And there's no colorless arcane tome yet, so that tome is probably the best thing you can have for her. So yeah, that's the banner, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed listening to me ramble. Please stay safe out there. Peace out.